some PowerPoint slides to share, and we'll be talking about chapter 3, verse 41 of the Bhagavad Gita. So I do have the verse on my PowerPoint, so you could open it up, but you don't have to. Can everyone see this slide?
Yes, Rishta.
Thank you, Mataji. So today we're going to be talking about Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 41. So this is the area where Krishna is addressing lust, which is the enemy. So I'm going to say the verse 3 times. You can repeat after me. Then we'll do the transliteration and the translation. Tasmat tvam indriyanyadao.
Tasmat tvam indriyani do.
Niyamya bharatarshava.
Niyamya bharatarshava.
Anam prajahiyenam.
Papanam prajayenam.
Jnana vijnana nashanam.
Jnana vijnana nashanam.
Tasmat tvam indriyanyadao. Niyamya bharatarshava. Manam prajahiyenam. Jnana vijnana nashanam. Tasmat tvam indriyanyadao. Niyamya bharatarshava. Manam prajahiyenam. Jnana vijnana nashanam. Now we'll do the transliteration. Tasmat. Therefore. Tvam. You. Indriyani. Senses. Ado. The beginning. Niyamya. By regulating. Bharatarshava. O chief amongst the descendants of Bharata. Papanam. The great symbol of sin. Prajahi. Curb. Certainly. Enam. This. Jnana. Of knowledge. Vijnana. And scientific knowledge of your soul. Nashanam. The destroyer. Translation. Therefore, Arjuna, best of Bharatas, in the very beginning, curb the great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord advised Arjuna to regulate the senses from the very beginning so that he could curb the greatest sinful enemy, lust, which destroys the urge for self-realization and specific knowledge of the self. Jnana refers to knowledge of self as distinguished from non-self, or in other words, knowledge that the spirit soul is not the body. Vijnana refers to specific knowledge of the spirit soul's constitutional position and his relationship to the supreme soul. It is explained thus in the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.31. Jnanam paramaguhyam me yad vijnana samanvitam sarahasyam tadangam cha grihana gaditam maya. The knowledge of the self and supreme self is very confidential and mysterious, but such knowledge and specific realization can be understood if explained with their various aspects by the Lord himself. Bhagavad Gita gives us that general and specific knowledge of the self. The living entities are parts and parcels of the Lord, and therefore they are simply meant to serve the Lord. This consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. So, from the very beginning of life, one has to learn this Krishna consciousness, and thereby one may become fully Krishna conscious and act accordingly. Lust is only the perverted reflection of the love of God, which is natural for every living entity. But if one is educated in Krishna consciousness from the very beginning, that natural love of God cannot deteriorate into lust. When love of God deteriorates into lust, it is very difficult to return to the normal condition. Nonetheless, Krishna consciousness is so powerful that even a late beginner can become a lover of God by following the regulative principles of devotional service. So, from any stage of life, or from the time of understanding its urgency, one can begin regulating the senses in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord, and turn the lust into love of Godhead, the highest perfectional stage of human life. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. To those who are a little bit new here, because I know that there are a few new people here, we say these prayers after reading the verse, translation, and purport, because at this point we're going to start discussing about what we just read. So we're begging the blessings of the Acharyas, Lord Krishna, Srimati Radharani, Lord Chaitanya, the Goswamis, and all of the Vaishnavas who are here, so that anything we're discussing will help someone and is correct and not interpreted by our mind in some way. So that's why we had these prayers, and now we can start discussing. So before we discuss about this verse, let's just recap about the previous verses so we know the context of what we're speaking about. So we're discussing text 41 now, but let's start recapping from text 36. So this is Arjuna's question in the 3rd chapter to Krishna. He said, Arjuna said, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? So here, this is after Krishna told Arjuna about karma yoga, acting in Krishna consciousness, and what akarma, vikarma, everything is. So it's basically sinful acts. And Arjuna said, O descendant of Vrishni, because Krishna was born in the dynasty of Vrishni, he said, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? So here's text 36. So Arjuna's question is what we face every day in our day-to-day life is just, we know sometimes that something is wrong or something can be harmful to our health or our spiritual life or material life, but sometimes we do it. Like, we don't want to do it because we usually want to do something that's beneficial for us. But sometimes you know that what you're doing is wrong, but you feel like you're being forced to do it, even though you yourself are committing that act. And this is Arjuna's question. He's saying, what is this? You know you're not supposed to do it, but what makes you do it? It's not like a gross being is making you do it, but what is this subtle thing that is making you become engaged in this by force? And text 37, Krishna directly jumps into the answer. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So this is Krishna. He says, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material modes of passion. So there's lust. Lust is originally love of God, like Prabhupada explains in the purport. And when we try to enjoy separately from God, it becomes lust. And lust, the Wikipedia definition, I have it here, is lust is a psychological force producing intense desire for an object or circumstance while already having a significant other or amount of the desired object. Lust can take any form, such as the lust for sexuality, love, money, or power. So the normal definition of lust we may think of only referring to something sexual, but this can be referred to anything, like a hankering for anything that, especially, you may have something of but you just want more. So wanting something minimal is not lust, that's a need. But lust is when you have something but you just want more and more and more of something that you already have. So it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion. So when we're with Krishna, there are no material modes. It's just pure goodness with Krishna. So it's not a material mode, it's a spiritual mode. And he says to Arjuna that lust is born of contact with the material mode of passion. So when we come in contact with the material mode, which means when we come into the material world away from Krishna, then the love that is natural for all of us, that we share with Krishna, that we share in our relationship as the servant, the friend, the mother, the lover, whatever with Krishna, turns into lust. So there can never be pure love in this material world. We can think that to some extent it's better, like we say that the mother's love is pure. It's purer than everything else in this world, but it's not completely pure because it's still material love, right? So then Krishna says that it's later transformed into wrath. What happens sometimes, lust can turn out, I mean, good people can say that you lust for something, you get it, and you're happy. But eventually, you really can't be happy with just material things because they're going to go one day. And most of the time, they don't even get them, forget about leaving one day. When we don't obtain what we have that passion for, what we're trying to get, and we have that lust for, we become angry. And that's why he says later transformed into wrath. When wrath means anger, like big time anger. And wrath, what happens, just lots of things can happen with wrath against one person to another, or just even like just a small level of wrath can cause disasters. So like Hitler, for example, he had some wrath towards one race and then bad things happened. So the next verse is text 38. As fire is covered by smoke, this is still Krishna, and he's giving examples to Arjuna for explaining how lust exists within us. As fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by the different degrees of this lust. So when we have like you can say a campfire, there's when you put the rocks in first and start lighting the fire, there'll be lots of smoke. Like we've seen it when we go to Gitanagari, they have the campfire, lots of smoke, like extreme amounts of smoke that sometimes you're just like, is the fire even gonna come? But fire eventually comes, but lots of smoke at the beginning. And this is like the lust within us. We have pure love inside for Krishna, for our relationship with Krishna as his eternal servant, but it's covered by the smoke, which is the lust that we have inside us because of our contact with the material mode of passion. And the next example is as a mirror is covered by dust. So this is a thicker layer. So when we have a mirror and there's dust on it, it requires a lot of cleaning to be able to see our reflection in the mirror. And the next higher level of covering is as the embryo is covered by the womb. So now when the embryo is in the mother's womb, you can't see anything. It's just the womb. So this is, in the three modes of material nature, they have different degrees of this lust. So beginning for the people in the mode of goodness, it's a very comparatively light layer of just like smoke before the fire. So they have the lust, but their dominant good qualities, like if you're philanthropic or you like to help people or you just want to live a clean, hygienic, helpful life, that's like the fire covered by smoke. You still have lust. We may think that we're perfect, but we're not, and we still have that lust, but it's not, relatively less layer of lust. And then for the people in the mode of passion is as a mirror is covered by dust. So it's thick and it needs a lot of scrubbing to be able to see yourself. So they're always hankering for something. I want to do this, I want to get this, I want to get that. So it is a pretty thick layer. And for the people in ignorance, like the people who take drugs, people who don't care about hygiene, don't care about others, it's extremely thick. It's how the womb covers the embryo. And here Krishna says later that the living entity is similarly covered by the different degrees of this lust. So people in three different modes of material nature, different coverings of this lust. Next, text 39 is thus the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. So it says here, thus the wise living entity's pure consciousness. So living entity is wise. So he is Sachidananda. He's extremely knowledgeable. He knows what's right, what's wrong. But just like here, we know something's wrong, but our lust makes us do something that is not right. Similarly, when we were with Krishna, our lust, our greed to enjoy separately from him brought us here. And that's why it calls lust as the eternal enemy. So it's been there since ever. When we came back from Krishna, it was there. It's what it caused us to be here. That's lust. And which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. So sometimes we think that if I want this thing and then I get this thing, I'll be happy. And it's not going to make you happy. So, I mean, there's lots of people, I mean, they try. I mean, it's not wrong to try. It's not wrong to want something, but thinking that you're just going to become happy with that, that's like a little bit of a shift has to happen in the way you think about that. It's not wrong to want to have a good life. It's not wrong to want to have certain things, but you have to understand that the ultimate happiness doesn't lie over there. Because when we expect that this thing is going to give me happiness and then you see that it doesn't, then you get disappointed, you get angry, like we talked about before, wrath, and it burns like fire. So when the fire is burning and then you feel like, oh my God, I need something, the fire of like desire, and then you're like, hey, I might give this some ghee or butter or some sort of fat, and then it's not going to extinguish the fire. The fire is going to increase when we add that source of fat inside. And similarly, when we want something and we equate it with happiness and say, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get this, I'm going to become happy when I have this, you're not going to become happy or you're not going to become satisfied. Your fire of like hankering is just going to increase. So the best thing we can do here is whatever you're doing, whatever you're hankering for, understanding that it's not wrong to hanker. I mean, you can say that you shouldn't want anything, but we're living in the material world and it's really hard to not want anything because we see that, people have stuff and sometimes they're outwardly happy because of the stuff. So it's natural to want to have that. But it's always important that in our mind, we know that, hey, this place is like an airplane. I'm going from this place to that place. And it's not like I shouldn't have proper facilities in the airplane, but I'm not going to like damage my mental health just because the airplane doesn't have the facilities I want. Because I know where I'm going and I know what's awaiting me when I go there. So suppose I'm going from New Jersey to India and the plane ride 18, 19 hours might be like sort of like it's really inconvenient, it's like congested, the airplane, but when you're there you're gonna go for a yatra in Vrindavan and that's what you're thinking about. So doesn't mean you ignore your flight, doesn't mean if you want to go to the bathroom you're just like, you know what, that's it, I'm going there, so I don't care, I'm not going to go to the bathroom. You take care of that, but you're not going to break down if something doesn't go right in the airplane because you have a destination awaiting you. So similarly, you don't think that by supplying the ghee to the fire, it's going to satiate. It's just going to get higher. And similarly, with supplying the desires to our lust, it's not going to work. So text 40 is, the senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. So we have the senses, the five senses, the mind, and the intelligence. So these three things are basically what we are. So it's what controls all our activities. Everything we do revolves around all of these three. And that's why lust, because the goal of lust, or our eternal enemy, is to control us. So it goes to the places by which we are controlled, or from where we are controlled the most. So through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. So lust enters right when we enter the material world. So right when we enter, birth comes death, comes old age, comes disease. Similarly comes false ego, lust. So when we come, it comes with us. And the job of lust is basically to bewilder us. We know when we're born, when we come out of the womb, it's in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's explained by Kapila Muni that what the baby goes through in the womb, I mean, it's not easy. Like sometimes whenever, before I knew about this, whenever it was somebody was pregnant, it's like, oh, congratulations. Oh, the baby's kicking and everything. But now we still have that happiness because we're not, I mean, disconnected with the material world. But at the same time, on the other side of the head is, hey, like, what's the baby going through inside? This baby is praying to Krishna saying, I'm sorry, it was a bad idea. I mean, but you gave me a chance. I'm getting this human life. I'm going to make it my last life and come to you. So, I mean, on the outside, we smile and say, hey, the baby's kicking, but we also know that, oh my God, the baby's in pain. It's getting bit and it's fainting at every second. It's trying to kick so that it can get rid of its pain, and it's trying to come out as soon as possible and make this its last life. So, when the living entity comes, this is his state of mind. Krishna, I'm going to come. That's it. Like, this is going to be my last life. I'm not coming here anymore. When I get out of my mom's womb, I'm going to worship you. I'm going to do whatever I do in life as an offering to you. And at the end of this life, I'll come back to you. But what happens when we come is we come with false ego and lust. So when we have false ego and lust, our knowledge, the real knowledge that we come with when we're babies or when we're just born, that becomes covered completely. So when that lust enters, when we come out, then you see your parents fondling you or like playing with you, and you sort of start forgetting. And when you're getting older, then there's more interaction with outward sources. You're sleeping less. Then you're completely forgetting about where you came from, where you have to go, and you're just sort of getting entangled in what you're seeing in front of you. And that's exactly what happened with all of us. And that's why sometimes I feel, I mean, especially when there's nothing much going around me, I feel that, oh my God, I'm so fortunate. Like, so many people in this world who don't know, and everybody wished the same thing when they were coming out of the womb. Krishna, please make sure that I don't forget about you. Please make sure that I make this my last life. But there's so many people out there who don't know. And what did I do to get this fortune? And like the Bhagavatam says, you didn't do anything. It's just costless mercy and some of the pious credits you may have had from your previous lives. So again, eternally grateful for that, all of us. And extremely grateful for getting a chance to read this literature, coming in touch with Srila Prabhupada and his literature, because I mean, there's so many Bhagavad Gitas out there, so many Bhagavatams out there, but none of them have what Krishna wants to give us. So none of them have an unadulterated form of the literature that Krishna wants to give us, the teachings that Krishna wants to give us. So extremely grateful for getting to read this with all of you. Now, the verse we're speaking about today is text 41. Therefore, O Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning, curb this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So he says, O Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning, curb this great symbol of sin. So lust. So great symbol of sin. Sin means something wrong that you would do, which is a sin. And this is a symbol of sin because sin is an offspring of lust. So when you have lust, you do something which would be a sin. So this is the beginning of the great symbol of sin. By regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So he's saying curb this great symbol of sin by regulating the senses. So the senses are what we interact with on a day-to-day basis. They're gross. You can't really control your mind and your intelligence because they're very subtle. But when you have, the first thing you should start with is your senses. You can control your mind and intelligence later, but first your senses, because you can see them, you do with them day-to-day life, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So here, Krishna says, control the senses. So that's the sense of sight, sense of sound, sense of taste, sense of touch, and sense of smell. So when you are unable to control your senses for small things, like maybe I want to hear some music which has some unwanted words in it, but I like it and I want to hear it. So you're like, oh, that's okay, it's just music, and you want to hear it. That it's going to start small, but if you don't stop it there, saying, hey, you know what, it may seem small now, but it's going to start with this, it's going to go somewhere else. So if you don't stop it there, it's going to go to like bad places. And same thing, sense of smell. If we're prohibited to eat meat, but then you enjoy the smell of meat and you say, you know what, that's okay, like I can smell meat, that's fine, like I shouldn't eat it, but I can smell it. Just that feeling of gratifying the sense of smell can make you say, hey, I feel like eating the meat, so I'm gonna go eat the meat, that's okay. But so it can lead to really wrong things. So even with small things like wanting to watch something which isn't going to help us in our spiritual life, or wanting to touch something which we're not supposed to touch, anything, if we stop it there, then our spiritual path is pretty much clear, and we're not going to be succumbing to like bigger pressures that this lust may put on us. So Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Instruction. So Rupa Goswami is one of the great acharyas, and we follow in his footsteps. We're Rupanugas, which means he gave us the instructions that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us, because he was one of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's greatest followers. And the first verse he tells us is a sober vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jihva vegam udaropasta vegam etan veganyo vishaheta dhira sarvan api mam prithivim sashishyat. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So usually sober in the material terms is you're not drunk, you're fine, you're in your senses. So what sober means by the scriptures is you're a sober person when you can tolerate the urge to speak. One of the qualities in Kali Yuga, explained in the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam, is that they, just by talking, the way you talk, how much you talk, it proves your greatness. Even though like a really ignorant person can talk a lot, doesn't mean they know a lot. But in Kali Yuga, the age that we're in, if you talk a lot, people think you're smart. So a sober person can tolerate the urge to speak. He has to tolerate the mind's demands. So the mind can tell you a lot of stuff, and everything wrong that happens in this world happens with the demands of the mind. Again, it'll start small, it'll go into really, really desires that are illegal even sometimes, especially if it comes to like gross activities, like criminal activities. It starts with the mind's demand to do something, a thrill factor, and then it goes to like bad places. It gets you into bad places, it gets somebody else into other bad places, because you were the perpetrator of some sort of bad thing to the victim who had karma, but you shouldn't be feeling that you are like the instrument in their karma. You're going to get karma when you do that. It's not like they have karma, so you're the instrument of karma, so you're not going to get any karma. It doesn't work that way. When you hurt somebody else, you get the karma. And this starts with the mind's demands, because you are a pure spirit soul and you don't have any sort of bad desire. But when the mind, which is conditioned by the material modes of nature, demands something, we identify so much with the mind, and the mind convinces us in 100 different ways that this thing is going to make you feel good, then we do it. And he also controls the actions of anger and the urges of the tongue. So sometimes like even small things as wanting to taste something can, it feels really small, like, hey, what's wrong with that? I'm not like hurting anybody else, I'm not hurting myself, but I'm not going to speak for you or control your life. But if you have a goal to advance in spiritual life, it's really smart to control the urges of the tongue. Like if we have some rules that you don't eat onion, don't eat garlic, there's a reason why they have that. So they say in the scriptures, it says that it increases the passion in your body, and when you have so much passion, it makes you do things that you are trying to avoid in your spiritual life. So it's just like, if this is going to increase it, like, why not just like give it up? I know it'll hurt the tongue a little bit because your taste buds may be used to eating things with onion or garlic or anything else, or meat even, but that's okay because you have like a higher goal, and really this one becomes really small if you look at the big picture. And the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So here, when we start, when we start with the five senses, we go to the tongue, and then we go to the genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So the urges of the tongue, the urge to speak, everything is really, really insignificant compared to the sexual urge that all of us will feel some point in our life. And in the Bhagavatam, it says that the sexual happiness is the highest pleasure that you can have in this world. Highest, like nothing can beat that. Like even Lord Brahma became attracted to his daughter. So we're not Lord Brahma. He is the creator of the universe. His post is so important that if no one is qualified to take up the post of Lord Brahma, Lord Krishna himself comes and becomes the Lord Brahma to create. So his post is extremely important. He is extremely qualified. But he became attracted to his own daughter because of that urge. And if we can't control small things like wanting to eat something, wanting to smell something, wanting to hear something, then that urge, we can't. Like we'll become like snap in front of it. We can't beat that urge. So it's really wise to start stopping your urges at very like small areas. If you want to eat something which is prohibited, you'd be like, okay, that's okay. I don't have to do it. And then later, when you have the sexual urges and you know that, hey, this is a yagya for begetting children. It's not something that I do to have fun. It may give some pleasure, but that's not the thing. What's the thing is I'm going to beget children who I'm going to elevate to the level of Krishna consciousness, take them back, and educate them in such a way that they can adopt Krishna consciousness and go back to Krishna. And unless we start small, we're not going to be able to go there. Like when we ultimately are in that situation, like if you're going to get a driver's license, the goal is driver's license, and going to the DMV, whatever, is just a process. So this sex becomes that. It's just like we're gonna beget children, and this is just like that middle transition stage. So the focus goes from that to, hey, how can the children that I'll be having in the future, how can I elevate them to the level of Krishna consciousness? So all of these start small. When we have lust in small areas like wanting to smell something, wanting to touch something, wanting to eat something, wanting to taste something, wanting to see something, then when we start controlling that lust in small areas, we can control the lust successfully because of practice in like even more powerful areas. So here in the verse 41, Krishna says, Jnana Vijnana Nashanam. So which means lust destroys Jnana and Vijnana, knowledge and self-realization. So Jnana refers to knowledge of self as distinguished from non-self. Or in other words, knowledge that the spirit soul is not the body. So this verse is, this concept is a very famous concept, the concept that the whole Krishna consciousness movement revolves around. We're not the body, we're the soul. That's what makes us different than any other spiritual path. The emphasis is on you're not the body, you're the spirit soul. You're here, you left Krishna, you came here, and you're inhibiting this body, and that's okay. This is your habitat for now, but it's not you. It's like your car. It's not you. It's your car, it's your body. You is different. So that's the main concept that the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches to Arjuna. What the Bhagavatam revolves around is Vijnana. Vijnana refers to specific knowledge of the spirit soul's constitutional position and his relationship to the Supreme Soul. There's many people out there, like even in the, general society, it's becoming a thing. Like once I was talking to this lady in the supermarket, random. It started off with asking about my tilak, and then it came to the body soul concept. And then she was just like, yeah, we believe in that too. And then, in my head, I was like smiling a little bit because, yeah, you know that you're the spirit soul, maybe not the body, but what are you going to do from there? Like knowing your spirit soul is not enough. That's good. Like that's better than what everyone else is just identifying with the body. That's good, but it's not everything. After Jnana, which is, hey, I'm not the body, I'm the soul, is Vijnana, which means if I'm the soul, where did I come from? Where will I go? And if I have a relationship with God, how do I go back to God? And just this inquisitiveness to learn more. And then after understanding that, reading the scriptures, understanding this is Vijnana. And this is a really good point for all the devotees because we, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, by Krishna's mercy, have this Jnana and Vijnana. We know that we're not the body, we're the soul. We know that we are a servant of Krishna, part and parcel of Krishna, and we have to go back to Krishna. And we also know how we should go back to Krishna, and how we should tell everybody, share with everybody the knowledge about Krishna. But what happens is when lust comes, it destroys Jnana and Vijnana. Not only does it inhibit our getting Jnana and Vijnana or understanding Jnana and Vijnana, but after we have it in like seedling form, it destroys it. So when we have this lust and then Jnana and Vijnana are on one side, already there's so many distractions around us, people, engrossed with the body, and we, one corner here, are trying to develop the jnana and vijnana in our heart. And now the lust comes, and when the lust comes, its job is to get rid of the jnana and vijnana. So you can take it as a challenge. It's like, hey lust, you think you can win? You can't win. The teachings of the scripture will win, and my determination to make this my last life wins. So because this lust will destroy jnana and vijnana, it's really an unwanted situation to give in to any of the desires that lust will put forward to you. So a learned person may succumb to lust despite knowing that he's not the body. So all of us, basically, even if you know everything, it's really easy to just go into lust, because sometimes it's not even like they don't even recognize, or we don't even recognize that, hey, I'm doing something wrong. You'll justify it saying, hey, it's just this, so that's okay, that's okay. But you know in the back of your mind that's not okay. And sometimes they don't even know in the back of their mind that it's not okay. And you sort of get accustomed to the fact that, or to the feeling, not fact that, but feeling that it's okay. But this it's okay will lead to bigger it's okays, which are not okay. Even the small thing isn't okay, the big thing isn't okay. Sometimes, like, material people will say, hey, drinking that much is wrong, but like having like a peg once in a while is fine. But it's not. According to the scriptures, it's not. Scriptures say drinking 5 gallons is not okay, drinking 1 cup is not okay. And that's where we have to understand that, hey, if this is saying that this is wrong, and it's also saying that a little bit is wrong, then we have to understand that a little bit is wrong too, right? So Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that love is natural, love of God is natural. When we turn our back against God, this pure love turns into lust. Srila Prabhupada also gives us a way that we can curb this lust in its very beginning stages. The remedy for lust is 24/7 engagement in Krishna consciousness. So one amazing thing about Srila Prabhupada is he didn't tell us to sit all day and chant, because he knows that it's not possible. He knows that we're living in a society, and which is not wrong. Like, the varnashrama dharma was always there. We have different psychophysical natures. All of us can't fit into one size. We have different inclinations, and Prabhupada gave us what we should do with different inclinations. If you like doing something, or you can say a leadership mentality, lead people in understanding about Krishna. If you like cooking, cook for Krishna and give the prasadam to the devotees. If you like decorating, painting, you can do anything in Krishna service. There's some, Jadurani Mataji was one of Prabhupada's disciples, and amazing paintings, like, oh my god, incredible. Like, if we look at them, it's so amazing. And I have a friend who draws amazing. Like, if she wasn't in Krishna consciousness, maybe she would be drawing who knows what. But now, like, I just saw today, amazing. She drew like Srimati Radharani and the gopis. It's like you're looking at them in real life. So any inclination you have will be used in Krishna service, and can be used in Krishna service, in Krishna consciousness. So this is the remedy for lust. It's not hard. You don't have to inflict any physical suffering, no mental suffering. It's just a small dovetail. You don't have to kill your inclinations. It's just sometimes your inclinations can be wrong, and at that point you have to say, hey, this is not right. And when you know this is not right, it's not like you're killing your inclination, because when you know it's not right, it's not an inclination anymore, right? Because if you know that I like meat, but it's like veganism is becoming a trend these days, and people are starting to realize that meat is not doing their body any good. So they're trying to, stay away from it. And after they become vegan, it's not like they're killing their desire to eat meat, because their desire to eat meat has already been subdued by understanding that meat isn't good for me. So similarly, illicit things that we have an inclination for will be subdued. That desire will be subdued when we understand that this is not going to help me achieve the goal of life, which is sharing with anybody, everybody, how many ever people I can about what I've learned, and being fixed on my grounds and then going back. So when we understand that this is our goal, and some things help, some things don't help, whatever doesn't help will automatically be taken out of our life. We will take it out of our life, not forced by anyone. So, and now sometimes people will say, why do I have to control lust? Like, that's fine. We're all good. I don't need to know about this. I don't need to control lust. And that's like a pervasive feeling. And that's why everybody, anybody who comes in contact with Krishna consciousness doesn't always take to it. And this is usually why. Not exactly in these words, necessity of controlling lust, but back of their mind, like, hey, why do I need this? I mean, I'm doing good. Like, I have a family, I'm happy, I have a job, I have a car, everything's going good. So why do I need this? So, a few words here: the world is not a beautiful place. It's not good. Outside the haven of Krishna consciousness, we would be in a really bad position. We don't know how much bad things that our karma has in stock for us. So, who knows who we may have been in our past life? We could have been Hitler, killed so many people, right? For all that killing, how much karma would have been here? But every name of Krishna that we chant, every process of devotional service that we do, every time we wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, dragging ourselves out of bed, sleepy, but get up to do Mangalarti, how many mountains of karma that's destroying? We don't know, but we know that it's a lot through scripture, because we know that we're here because we have bad karma. And that the process of Krishna consciousness, the Vaidhi Bhakti, the regulative devotional service that Prabhupada gave us, is destroying mountains and mountains of sin for every devotional activity we do. And speaking about the necessity of controlling lust, there's a big necessity, because I'm studying criminal justice and there's lots of bad people out there. It's not funny. Like, sometimes if we, like, unless we're in those shoes, we really don't understand the trauma that goes through the people who are victims of whatever bad things happen. And even they're not innocent completely. They have some bad karma and they're having the results of their bad karma. But we should do our part in controlling the lust in ourselves. And even if 10% of the population starts controlling their lust, starts controlling their mind's demands, dovetailing their mind to Krishna consciousness, understanding that your life doesn't revolve around just what's around me, where am I getting happiness, what's this body, then you can, I mean, so many bad things will stop happening. Because everything, like studying the cases in my in college, it's so, like, I mean, you can say funny but also really sad to see how every bad thing that happens is just completely revolved around, I want this, I want that, or I feel this, I feel that. When we understand that what you feel, what you want doesn't matter, when you know you're the spirit soul and not the body, then all of the problems will go away. Like, that's 100% confirmation, because anything that happens wrong in this world is because of identifying with the body. And when we step out and say, hey, I'm not the body, then who cares? Like, it's not exactly who cares, but you care. But your life doesn't revolve around it. You don't die for it. You don't kill for it. So now that we know what lust is, why we should curb lust, what can happen if we don't curb lust, we have an action plan. So this is a quote from Srila Prabhupada that we see over here with the two, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. If one adheres to these two big books, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, one is sure to obtain the association of Krishna in the next life. So that's our goal. So keeping the goal in mind, we're here. We have to get out of here. So, I mean, I feel like whenever I speak, this is where it ends up at. And I feel it's rightly so, because that's what I've grown up reading. Like, every time, any Prabhupada lecture, any verse, like out of anywhere, he'll round it up to this, that you're here, you're not supposed to be here, what you have to do to go back. So it'll boil down to that from anywhere. So the action plan is read the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. We're all so lucky. I mean, if you're listening to this, you have some contact with these scriptures. Read them, not only read, but study them. Try your best to adhere by the injunctions, rules, and regulations. So there are, I mean, very, very clear injunctions, rules, and regulations. That's why we have Vaidhi Bhakti. Not just the spontaneous love that Krishna. It's not just sentimental. That's one really good thing about the Krishna consciousness movement. It's not based on emotions. It's based on philosophy. It's based on facts. And every day, something that, like, I try to do. No one knows, but, like, I try to do in, like, write down and reaffirm why you're following the path that you're following. So, I mean, all of us, we're not babies. We know why we're following what we're following. Most of us, like, I mean, I could have said that I had no, I mean, I'm really grateful, but people could say that I had no choice when I was 4, when my parents came to Krishna consciousness, I followed. But all of you are, but that was a very good thing that happened in my life. I mean, I don't even know, like, how grateful I should be for being so fortunate to be born into this. I mean, not exactly born, but after 4 years of my life coming to this. But all of you, like, have, like, by yourself take into Krishna consciousness. So just reaffirm to yourself, why are you following the path that you're following? And if you're following it, like, hey, why not use it to its best potential? Like, if I'm doing it anyway, if I'm chanting 16 rounds anyway, why not with a little quality? So instead of, I mean, you can say like, not exactly wasting, but you can say wasting in a way, because it's never a waste. I mean, even if you chant Krishna's name without attention, it'll give you it'll take you to a next level of bhakti. But why can't I do it with more attention, so that whatever I'm doing, I can use it to its best, and then I can make the best out of it, so I can go back to Krishna with these 16 rounds. So the next tip is follow strictly the 4 regulative principles that were given to us by Srila Prabhupada. These may seem really simple, like basics, and we might want to hear something else and something else, but ultimately this is what matters. This is what really can take us to Krishna. How many ever pastimes you know, how many ever this is you know, how many ever that you know, how many ever verses you memorize, it's not going to take you anywhere. Sometimes lots of people are really enamored, I guess you can say, or like fascinated by the fact that I know so many verses, but that's really not where the potency is. I mean, there is potency. I mean, that's why I keep like saying that anything you do in service to Krishna has potency, attentively or inattentively. But where the importance lies is in understanding the meaning of the verses that I memorized, understanding why Prabhupada gave us all of these verses, what you have to do so that all of the philosophy in these verses can be understood by you and you can abide by these verses. And so the 4 regulative principles are no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. And just by following these 4, you can see that your spiritual life will become so much easier. Sometimes people are just naturally spiritual, and just by doing these, they feel like, oh my god, just by going meatless, they feel like, oh my god, my attention increased, or my ability to meditate increased. So all of these 4 regulative principles, which are 4 things that everybody cannot live without here, will help you. If you just stay away from them, then you can advance in your spiritual life at whatever level you are, especially if you're a beginner and then you don't know where to start from this. So chant 16 rounds is the next thing. Prabhupada gave us 16 rounds, and some people may say, why 16? Why not 10? Why not 60? But Prabhupada gave us 16, and he was a messenger of Krishna. He came to give us the way by which we could go back to Krishna. And our duty is understanding that Srila Prabhupada was a representative of Krishna is to follow by his order. The number 16 might not have a potency, but when it comes from the mouth of the spiritual master who is in connection with Krishna, it has potency. So the 16 rounds, extremely important. 16 quality rounds, try to make it a quality round while you're chanting. Try to stay in connection with Krishna. So make sure you're not distracted. So when we do all of this, lust becomes easily conquered. And one thing I have here, I'm not sure how much time we have left, but Srila Prabhupada says that Tadvag Visarga, this is the verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.11. This is Narada Muni to Vyasadeva. So Tadvag Visargo Janatagha Viplavo Yasmin Pratishlokamam Abadhavatyapi Namanyanantasya Yashonkitani Yachunmanti Gayanti Grananti Sadhavaha. On the other hand, that literature, which is full of description of the transcendental glories, of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation, full of transcendental words, directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So, many people may feel that the Bhagavatam isn't, you can say, perfect. The way it's composed is not perfect, but it's a spiritual literature. It's the personification of Krishna, the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and it's directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Again, coming back to the point that so many wrong things happening. What we can do, our part, is keep ourselves grounded very strictly in the injunctions of the scripture, follow rigidly what the scripture says, and you at least will have the confirmation that you are going back, right? And in whatever capacity you can share with somebody else, share with somebody else, and Krishna will even more be happier when he sees that you are helping another living entity, another one of his children, come back to him. And another a big question is, can the world change if I change myself? So it's a valid doubt. but it's the best you can do. You can't help everybody. The first person you got to help is yourself. So whatever you know, be strong there and share it with everybody you can, understanding that if you can't control yourself, you can't teach to anybody else. So focus on yourself, focus on your immediate family members. I mean, before that, just yourself, focus on your sadhana, teach by example, show people how this path that you're following, Krishna consciousness, changed your physical life also, but especially your mindset, Krishna consciousness, how it changed your consciousness, how everything you do, not drastically different from everybody else, but with a different state of mind. So when we do this, we can help control our lust in its beginning stages, and we can also change the world in a smaller, big way. So thank you very much for having me. I'm sorry if I went like some time. And thank you especially Simheshwar Prabhu and Madhupati Prabhu for giving me this opportunity. Like you asked me in the temple, and like I'm really honored for that. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. It was a very powerful, power pack discourse. Sometimes in our company, people ask what the power can do. So I just realized this, what the power can do. So this is what the power can explain a lot of things. Very power packed. Thank you so much. It was so nice, so wonderful to hear from you. So many wonderful examples, points, up to the point what scriptures referring and the acharyas. So yes, it's a wonderful class. Thank you so much. So anybody has any questions? Any questions, reflections, comments? Anybody would like to comment? Any questions?
Haribo, Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Surabhi.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I really like the point about reaffirming why you're doing Krishna consciousness. That was a really nice point, because I think oftentimes people, like especially youth, they're joining the movement and they don't really know, I'm just doing it because my parents brought me. But so like really digging in and figuring out why you're doing Krishna consciousness, why you're practicing is so important. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that I added like just like a few minutes before this thing, because I felt like it really helped me, something that I do, and then it like immediately whenever I feel like hey, is this too like rigid, I guess, is it worth it, like not exactly like 100%, but somewhere in the back of the mind, then I reaffirm that hey, I'm doing it, I'm not dumb, I'm doing it for a reason, and I want to achieve the reason. If I'm doing it, let's do it properly. So that really helps.
So this is something you do every day?
I should do it every day, but I do it whenever I feel a little like, I mean, not fully, but whenever something feels a little bit too strict, or especially my schedule of sleeping by 7, getting up by 4, it can bring a few like into my brain sometimes. And then whenever I reaffirm, let's be like, Prabhupada gave us this. If I don't sleep at 7, I can't get up at 4. I really don't have a problem getting up at the 4 part, but sleeping at 7 sometimes. But then I feel like if I don't sleep enough, I can't get up in the morning. And Mangalarti is what Prabhupada gave us, which has potency, that time, that just doing what Prabhupada says has the potency. It helps us in many ways that we might not even know. So I do this whenever I feel a little.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Overall, it was an amazing class. It was great to listen to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wonderful. Anybody else? Comment, add? Any other reflections?
Hi, Rishi Kaka. This
Hi,
is
Siddhant.
Hi. I listened to your whole class. It was fun.
Thank you.
I mean, not fun. I mean, great.
Huh?
It was great, not fun.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Fun is okay too. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If it's fun for you, that's good.
Thank you, Rishika.
No problem.
I mean, Rishika.
Bye.
Haribol Rishika, Harishta.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
this is Sachimata. How are you, Harishta? Wonderful to hear from you after such a long time.
Thank you,
Amazing, amazing class. What I find very fascinating, I know this, I've known you for a long time, but is yes, the knowledge is there, and uh, it's like you should be very grateful to your parents for that, because I know how much hard work I know your mom has put into this, and but the thing is, yes, you have the knowledge, but the way you um adhere to all, that is there, like you follow all the rules and regulations and waking up. I know you sleep early and you wake up early. So just like you said, how important it is to, like, we cannot change everybody, but we can set a good example. And that's exactly what you are doing, setting a good example, especially for um, this generation and the like kids of your age group, and even inspiring adults like us, So it was very, very inspiring. Thank you so much. Thank you. Would love to hear from you again.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hari Krishna.
Hi Rishka, namaste. At a very small age, you have a lot of knowledge. Sorry for that sound.
There is an echo.
Yeah, at a very small age, you have really great knowledge. I think it's because of your parents that you have come into this path. I really appreciate them for what they're doing, and you taking it as your life's goal is something which is so fascinating for me. And knowing much of knowledge and following it is really great, is what I felt. Hare Krishna. Thank you for explaining things very clearly.
Thank you so much, Mataji. And one thing I wanted to add to that was the determination to follow what I'm following comes from reading the scripture. So, I mean, if I read it in the beginning and then said, hey, I know, so I'm going to stop. I mean, I could say 99% I wouldn't have been here today, because when you read again, whenever you feel like, when you feel laxed a little bit, it helps you understand why you're doing what you're doing, like I mentioned. So the credit for that goes to the scriptures and reading again and again.
Yeah, I think I also should be doing that if that is the reason. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much for wonderful class. That like good trees had good fruits. That is the example of you are the example of good trees have good fruits. So really we are fortunate to have you in your class, in our association. Thank you so much. Haribo.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hey Rishika, this is Sunil Mamaya. So we all listen to your class, and once again, we are very blessed to have you in our family. So keep up the good work and keep inspiring all of us. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Wonderful. Anything else? Anybody has? Any other comments? We have a few more minutes.
Hare Krishna. Krishna, this is Subaldas.
Hi, Krishna Prabhuji.
I'm sorry I missed your class. I just joined towards a fag end, like towards the end. But I just love the point you just made, like about Prabhupada, whatever Prabhupada said has great potential, even though we don't understand it. That's like really something which I've never thought in that terms before. Thank you for, that point. And really you kind of inspire everybody, including adults. Thank you. And I'm sure it was a wonderful class.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I again want to say that I've said this before, but like not in this class, but before to other devotees, that whatever I have now is like a fruit of all of your blessings. So just the fact that the environment that all of you created, like if you didn't start what you started, the whole ISKCON of Central New Jersey temple or Bhakti Riksha's programs, I mean, I wouldn't know nothing about nothing. So thank you very, very much. I'm extremely grateful to that and for all of your blessings, even if you didn't do anything physically. But thank you.
Well, thank you.
Hare Krishna Rishi Akka. Hare Krishna Rishika Akka.
Hare Krishna, Rishi.
Your presentation was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Haribo, Rishta, Mataji, please accept my obeisance. I've known you as Rishika. I know you as Rishta Devi Dasi. But the best name which suits you is Mataji. Though in age, you're much younger than my youngest daughter. But you are Mataji because Mataji is a person from whom every living being, whether in the animal kingdom or the human species, learns. And from you, we learn so much. So spirituality also, and it reminds me of Prabhupada, and I think Sachimata mentioned that good fruits come from good trees, Prabhupada said. So you, Surabhi Mataji, are living examples. And finally, a few days back in Giriraj Swami's class, I had asked him, or actually a comment. Prabhupada gave the matchless gift of Krishna consciousness, bhakti. And then your Guru Maharaj, Srila Romapad Swami, his god brothers, Giriraj Swami and so many others, they accepted this gift. And that same gift that nurtured them, they helped hand it over to the next generation. How Krishna consciousness from Prabhupada started spreading. And then I was just thinking the responsibility that after the disciples, the grandchildren, so to say, of Prabhupada, we receive that gift and then we have to hand it over to the next generation. So that matchless gift is in excellent hands when it's coming to you, Surabhi Mataji, the coming generations. And lastly, I was just thinking, a few days back, Surabhi did Bhagavatam class. I think Surabhi must be a sophomore or a junior in college, so she must be about 19 or 20 years of age. You are about 15 or 14, around that, a teenager, correct? And then I'm seeing how from 20 something to mid-teen something, and then I see Bhavya, he's probably 10 years. And it just reminds me that spirituality has nothing to do with the physical body, but it's the level of consciousness. So it's not just by your words, just being yourself. You're teaching such a nice example. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
One thing I want to tell all of you is I'm especially grateful to Amritanand Prabhu. He was my first Sunday school teacher. So I remember we had the Maratha Vishwa Community Center, and there was this one small room where Amritanand Prabhu would take the class for kids like 4, 5, 6, that age group till like 10 years old. And the philosophy he'd explain in such a wonderful way, singing, dancing, cooking sometimes. And at this level, like sometimes we understand philosophy, we understand the importance of philosophy, and we are more focused even when it's like just a class. But at that time, it was all just fun and games. And Prabhuji brought the philosophy of Krishna, of the body, soul, especially, with fun and games, the way we could understand it, what made us look forward to the Sunday feast every week. So I'm extremely grateful to that, because if I didn't have that little inspiration every week, I wouldn't have wanted to come every week. I wouldn't have been here now. So thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thank
you so much, Rishta Devi and all the dear devotees for joining today. We are about to leave another meeting I have. So thank you so much. Thank you, Rishta Devi, for a wonderful class and your association, inspiring everybody else. Thank you so much for that. Let's and also a quick announcement. His Holiness Rampad Maharaj will be here in town starting on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday evening class will be combined, and like this in a Zoom, we'll send you the details later. And Saturday also, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 3 days of class. Maharaj is giving to and with association, all the devotees around in the Central New Jersey. So please join, don't miss. And also we have this class every week, every day, starting at 7 o'clock. 7 to 7:10 is chanting, and 7:10 to 7:45 class and question answer, and likes that. So please join, everybody. It's a wonderful opportunity, as Mataji mentioned, that anything out of this, anything apart from this is just a waste of time, and that literally we can feel it. So thank you so much. So let's pay our obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarupasya kripa sindhu
Sindhu evacha
Patitanam
patitanam
pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo namo namah.
Vaishnavam
Vaishnavinda ki
Shri
jai,
Gita ki
Bhagavatam
jai,
ki
Srila
jai,
Prabhupada ki
ki
jai,
jai,
Indra Kodi Vaishnavanda ki jai.
ki
Gaurav
jai. Thank you, Harishta Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hari Bol.
Thank you, Krishna.
Hari